Greg Dice.
And Josh of NPC Voices.
And we're doing a new little thing where I'm going to make a post on my story, petitioning for questions. You all submit questions and we're going to answer them in a video. And try and do this maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. So obviously I already have some questions, so we're going to go ahead and get right to it. It's been a while since we did a video, so we may be rusty and stupid and everything. We even put on matching shirts, which is, I'm starting to realize, is probably a mistake.
He's rusty, I'm stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into some of these questions. There's some interesting questions, some good ones that we want to get to. So, the first one is from Sam Consumes Pie.
Ooh.
I like that. And his question is just general advice for creating NPCs. So, why don't you go ahead and start this one off?
Oh, okay. Creating NPCs, for me at least, I create just a tiny little backstory in my mind of the character, especially if they're an important NPC. If they're a side NPC, just give them some defining characteristic, like a hunch.
Yeah, I think the question probably is more about important NPCs or more of the ones. You know?
Then perfect. You want to give them a little bit of a backstory, something to make them different, something particular to them. It's not going to be the same dude that grew up in the same village every time.
Mm-hmm.
Give them like a scar. Give them if you can do accents, try a little bit of accent, or maybe give them a slur. Make him talk a bit slower. Really bring in your audience.
Yeah, and it's always good. I mean, my main thing is when I want to make a good NPC that I think will engage the players, because they may or may not, even if it's supposed to be an important one. But anyways, is give them a personality, give them a purpose. Have like you said, a backstory. There has to be some meat and potatoes to them, some interesting stuff about them. Maybe they do run a gang, or maybe they own a business that's pertinent to the area or location, village, town that the players are in. So just give them some type of interesting story and give them a purpose and a personality. Make them come alive, and that's the best advice I can give. Okay. So that's that one. So let's go ahead and go number 2. I have a little list here. Sakakikurusu. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that one. But anyways, their question was, please help. They wanted to which they should run next. Descent into Avernus or Out of the Abyss. And I'll take this one first.
Yeah, go for it.
My opinion. I think we talked about some of these first anyways. I think we both agreed Out of the Abyss.
Yep.
They both have the same flavor to them. I mean, one's demons, one's devils.
Yeah.
You're a demon person.
I'm definitely a demon person.
So that's why he would say Out of the Abyss. I think Out of the Abyss is actually written in a way where it allows you to employ more homebrew. It probably needs it more, which I don't know, that could be a good thing or a bad thing for you. So that could be a deciding factor. If you like adding a lot of homebrew to a pre-written campaign, do Out of the Abyss. If you don't, if you want it to be more of a solid campaign right off the bat and you don't need to add much to it, then run Descent.
Yeah.
But they still have that same flavor to them, so yeah. So third question will be from tabletop_AF.
Ooh.
What is your favorite favorite NPC that you've ever run? What's yours?
PNC. Favorite NPC
Favorite
I've
NPC.
run. One that I almost always throw into a campaign or one shot. I don't know why, but I love the Ogre Butcher that I almost always have. I have an Ogre Butcher, a half Ogre like cook in almost every campaign I've ever run.
Go ahead.
Hi, what are you looking to order? And then has, of course, just this giant butcher knife there. And what was that? Number 3. 1 second. My favorite. I love him to death. You?
My favorite NPC, that's a really tough one. And I kind of don't want to say, and I'm actually going to go ahead and not answer this question. Hold off, because it is part of a campaign that Josh here is in, and that I am still currently running. We've taken a hiatus due to COVID. We stopped back in last March, but we will eventually get back to it. Let's just say he has a big plot twist, and the players are definitely engaged with him quite a bit. Quite a bit. All right, next question then. Yeah, Colton Gibson 2.
Colton Gibson 2.
Best class for Necromancer.
We were a little confused about this one.
Yeah, we're not
Do you mean best race? Because class, it's definitely under wizard, but you might be smarter than we are, and we're just not understanding the question that you're trying to get at.
So, Do we take a pass on that one?
I think we're going to take a pass on
class, but we would have to say wizard is the best class for a necromancer.
Yeah.
So that would be the answer. If you mean best race.
If you mean best race, I loved one of your players.
I mean, Drow would be great.
Drow are great, but I loved
just kind of
one of the other players, David.
Oh yeah.
He ran a gnome, I think, a gnome necromancer, and that was creepy and super cool.
Yeah, he brought 2 people alive and called them mommy and daddy.
Yeah, it was
very
terrifying, very disturbing, but awesome.
Yeah. That was interesting. So it really depends on how you like to play it. I mean, if you want to have some fun with it, yeah, be a gnome wizard necromancer. That would be interesting. Or maybe even a minotaur wizard necromancer.
You only bring like cows back.
Yeah, or all livestock. Why not? Why just cows?
I don't
Other
know.
lives
I don't know.
are important too. Okay, next question.
All right.
Now, let's go with that. Adam_Dank.
Dank!
So they just put down favorite weapon. I'm assuming they meant magical item. So I'll go first on this. And mine, I'm guessing magical item. I'm going with all magical items. So I went with sending stones is probably one of my favorites. Yeah, whatever. Because I just think, I mean, it's not a weapon, but any weapon is like, okay, you do extra damage or you do extra this. That's great. Everybody does damage in battle. You can do it with spells. You can do it with weapons. I like sending stones just because they create a lot of role-playing opportunities. You can use them in a town, in a village, while dungeon delving, even when you're obviously not together. If the party does split, you can use them in so many different ways, and just to also just add a lot of fun and role-playing opportunities to the game.
And then also, just to make sure you've covered the question, what is your favorite weapon? If your character uses one, what is your favorite weapon?
I mean, I love axes. I mean, I do. Like, if I was a D&D character myself, I would be an axe person.
An axe would be cool.
I do like a good two-handed sword, though.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine just chopping someone in half with that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, an axe, you're not going to chop through them.
Nah.
Especially if it's a hand axe.
Hard, oh, yeah. But you make your way
over
through.
and over.
Yeah,
yeah. God, a good sharp blade. You could just take limbs off one shot. What's your favorite weapon?
Oh, yeah.
Magic item, weapon?
Okay, personally, if I was thrown into a D&D world, I would want a maul.
Josh, how do you feel holding that thing?
I feel glorious.
Now you know how I feel every day.
I love mauls. I love bludgeoning weapons.
Because you can't stand blood, you rather crack bones than...
I can't. All of my D&D characters, they all use great swords. I love great swords. The damage output for one, it's the best next to the maul, which they're both dealing 2d6 damage, and it's the best just, I guess, ratio for damage. But if you're asking me my favorite magic item, then I'm going to have to choose. Actually, I changed my answer from what I said earlier. I said Vorpal Sword earlier.
Yeah, you did.
I've got to say the Deck of Many Things.
Yeah, that's great.
The random, like, creepy one that, like, anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, that can obviously add a lot of interesting stuff to a campaign.
A lot of amazingness.
Fun stuff, bad stuff, good stuff. This is from Brianna Flame.
Who the freak?
Brianna, yeah,
gosh, that's such a dumb
Brianna
name.
Flame. It sounds like somebody who streams all the time.
Yeah, I bet she's incredible at all she does.
Yeah, she's probably married to some gorgeous guy who's also in
he's probably
D&D.
like a model.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Freaking gag.
Attractive people playing D&D. Is there anything more gross?
Nothing.
Okay. Anyways, her question is, what inspires each of us?
You first. Nothing inspires me.
What inspires me? I get inspiration from anything. Books, movies, TV shows, just life in general, walking around, taking the kids for a walk. I mean, I take kids to a walk down to that creek behind the house, and just the vision of the creek flowing through, the high rocks on the sides. Yeah, anything. Like I would sit there and write while watching Game of Thrones, rewatching that show, and it's just that type of stuff. Watching Gladiator, watching Lord of the Rings, painting miniatures, it just, all that stuff. Even just reading through the other D&D campaign modules and the monster books. I mean, that's what I did growing up. And from friends. I draw inspiration from like this guy, his passion for playing D&D. Lily's creativity for playing D&D. Like I'm more just, I think, old school DM, but you bring that passion and that the voice acting and the performance art to DMing. She brings like the creativity and really it's just spontaneous. I mean, she doesn't even ever prep for sessions. I don't understand. And she can run an entire one shot. I have notes like this. I have 2 notebooks for my main campaign. It's just unbelievable that she can just do that without any prep. I think you're a prepper
and
too.
she remembers it, which is, okay. But
Yeah,
what was the
We're
question?
getting off the. What inspires you?
Oh, what inspires you? I think I've got to go along with you. Like today, I literally just came off of a 10-hour drive, and I think just driving inspires me. Like driving past mountains, driving past stuff like that. Exactly what you said. Pulling information, inspiration, and all of the above from all around you. But very much like watching Lord of the Rings, watching anime, watching all these different shows and such, where you can pull little bits, or even just scrolling through Pinterest. I love doing,
or even Instagram. I mean, you know?
Especially with all the amazing
All the
content
art.
creators out there, like some just dummies like Brianna Flame.
Brianna Flame.
Yeah.
All the pictures she does, all perfectly set up and everything.
And amazing, perfect.
Yeah.
Gosh, and the dice. But yeah, just scrolling through like Pinterest or Instagram or Twitter or anywhere that you have content out there, and just being able to pull little bit by little bit. And I always make sure that if I'm pulling a lot from what I've seen on like Instagram, I reach out to the creator and I'm like, hey,
Yeah, absolutely.
just to make sure I really want to throw this in my D&D game, instead of like maybe a year down the line be like, oh yeah, look at this super awesome PC I have, and then the content creator being like, whoa, wait, they stole that from me. I always remember to share. And
Yeah, I always try and remember to share on mine, especially when I do the Spell Sundays. If I do forget, you don't have to be an ass about it. Just remind me, you know. And yeah, or if you know the artist and you say, hey, I've seen that before, just put her down in there.
Please
They
do.
appreciate, yeah.
We'd
Always.
rather tag them.
All right, we're done with Brianna Flame's question. Just want to rip that one up. Get out of here.
Okay.
Next question is from, some friends and a DM on Instagram. And they want to know what your dream campaign is. We discussed this a little bit, and there is a campaign. I don't know if we agree or maybe it is the same thing. We both talked about and have thought about writing a Viking-themed campaign, which I think would be pretty fun.
It'd be so much fun.
I mean, I try and envision what it would look like, and I think it'd be less creatures and more people versus people, really, or humanoids versus humanoids,
exactly.
you know, because you're raiding and pillaging and trying to take over land, and that could be an interesting concept for a campaign of actually turning like Axis and Allies or one of those old school games where you take over everything into a D&D campaign, and your party is trying to maybe recruit people and this and that, and you can do mass battles. I mean, Got DM, you know, Ray from Got DM, both introduced us to doing group battles like that in a different way. So
he does them so well.
He's incredible. Get inspiration from him too. Lots of inspiration. Same for you?
Same for me. The Vikings, I just love it because it's low magic. I like where it's just like you have to make your own journey, not, oh, I've gotten this magic item that will help me a ton in this, and it'll pretty much be me doing some, but also this magic item doing a lot of this damage.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather be, or not even damage, just like solving the problems for you. I want to be able to solve the problems.
Yeah, magic items can be a lot of fun, but that's one thing I found is when the players get too many magic items, and we're going off on a tangent, but too many magic items, they can really dampen the creativity in a campaign because you don't have to do anything. The magic weapons, like you said, and items do everything. The players don't have to figure things out on their own or find ways to overcome stuff. So yeah, not all the time, but
yes, not all the time. Yeah. Please do not add us. Don't tear us a new one.
No, you can tear me a new one all you want because it's still my opinion, and I still feel the same way.
I'm fragile.
Oh yeah. All right. So next question, Shane Skittles. Love Shane Skittles. Okay, so this is, so he wants to know. Shane Skittles wants to know what is our favorite race and least favorite race, and then same thing with class. So if you want, I can go first because mine's pretty cut and dry on least favorites both. My least favorite, and this is mainly because I'm old school Dungeons and Dragons. I'm more sword and sorcery. I'm not a big sci-fi person and getting into that realm. So my least favorite race is Warforged. My least favorite class is Artificer, because once you get into those stuff, I mean, I'm okay with what are they called? Constructs and stuff like that. Not too many of them, but so with the Warforged and the Artificer being able to create all these things, it kind of, to me, takes away from the classic just magic and weaponry of classic D&D. You know? So, and that's just my opinion, but you know, I would, if I went to a convention and was given a random character and it was a Warforged Artificer, I'd probably quit D&D for the rest of my life.
Let's make it happen, guys.
Absolutely would not want to play that. It just doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I know.
It's just, and I've played with Artificers. I've had an Artificer in a session I've run, and I've played with Artificers And they're fine, and they can be fun, I guess, for other people, but it just doesn't interest me. Your turn.
Cool. Least favorites, I've got to say my least favorite race would be Aarakocra. I just, getting flying right off the bat, it does not interest me.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about making just such a broken class and race before, and Aarakocra is almost always the one I go with because flying right out the get-go is so good. But then my least favorite class is hands down Ranger. I don't like Ranger. I've never liked Ranger. I don't think I ever will.
Popular opinion, I think.
And I'm sorry to anyone who loves Rangers. It's just not my thing. I like being upfront and fighting, and they don't have high HP, so if you want to be an upfront Ranger, don't. Favorite class and favorite race?
Favorite class is easy, that's Bard. And I just like, I mean, the way D&D is set up now is any class can be well-rounded.
Yeah.
So, but traditionally I've always liked the Bard, mainly because with the spell casting, it's their performance, singing, poetry, music. You can do it. There's so many different ways that you can express how they do their spell casting. That's one thing I love about it. Like you talked about like the techno thing, the techno Bard or whatever that was.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I did it with Chadley. I did it with poetry, and then a lot of people obviously do it with song. But there's so many different ways you can express that, and they are such a good utility player because they are so well-rounded. Like before you get all the extra subclasses, Bard is already a good, well-rounded class. Race, I'm not sure. Go with yours while I think about that one.
I thought you'd go Satyr automatically.
Oh yeah, well no, because I love centaurs too. I love the idea of playing a centaur too. Centaur or satyr, I would go with those two. I played Mickey in your one shot at Gen Con. I played Chadley was a satyr in the Ukador on Fable 42, and those are two of my favorite characters I've ever played. I just love those Fey type.
Hairy bottoms.
Yeah, half man, half fur. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
No.
Can't go wrong with that. And your favorites?
My favorites easily. Favorite class? Paladin. Love Paladins. Will play Paladin till the day I die. Yep. And then favorite race? I think I've got to go Goliath. I love Goliath or Minotaur. I love Minotaurs as well. I like the big brawny types.
Who likes the furry beasts?
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's a bunch of bull. But I love the big brawny classes. I love being the giant meat muscle sack. But then also have a little bit of intelligence. I don't like playing dumb characters.
But you're so good at it. You're playing one now. Okay. Next question comes from Noah Schrader. Noah Schrader! Fan of Friday Night Fights. I love you, Noah. You're awesome. He asked, so he wanted to know what type of campaign would we love to see Wizards of the Coast make? And this was a tough question that we weren't too sure about because they've done a good variety right now. I mean, when you think about, they now have, how many do they have for 5e? Like 10 or 15? Something completely new off the top of my head. Make a Viking-themed campaign, and then we'll claim you stole it from us, Wizards of the Coast. So
pretty much.
It's a win-win for us. We get the thing, and we can take credit for it because it's on this video.
Exactly, right here, right now.
How about you?
For me, I've got to say, I just thought about it because I looked over to the artwork that we have over there. I would want a Fey campaign.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love something in the Feywild because there's not enough info on the Feywild as it is. I know that, I think, what was the vampire one? What's that one?
Curse of Strahd.
Curse of Strahd, I think, goes into the Shadowfell. It's
an alternate dimension and everything.
They go into the Shadowfell, and so we have a bit more built into there, but we don't have almost anything in the Feywild yet.
But that's because, the Fey's not all good, but that's the way you see it, and they're like, well
you have the...
you'd have to have something coming into the Fey, something causing problems with the Fey.
Oh, yeah.
How about
the Winter Court?
Fey and Shadowfell merging onto the material plane all at once?
The Feywild has their own shadowy side to it. It's the Dark Court, or the Winter Court, which is where... what is her name? I know this all, but...
The Fairy Queen.
Yeah, like the Dark Fairy Queen, and then you've got the Summer Court, which is the good Happy Fairy Queen, which is Titania.
I hate to drop this in here. I don't always hate to drop it. Kwood Publishing, their book, Kwood Publishing, they come out with some of the creature supplement books that are compatible with 5e. They have a Fey book.
Really?
Or is it in? I forget the name of the book, but they have a book which it has the winter the good court and the bad court, whatever it's called. But they have the queen of each side and everything.
Unseelie court. There we go.
Unseelie court. Yeah, they have the unseelie court. They have the good court, and they have everything stacked in there. I have it in there, but it's a good book. I'll show it to you when we're done. Anyways, so
what's next?
Next question. That was Noah Schrader. Next one is by Inglis _INGLIS.
Oh.
They wanted to know what our favorite one shot is. You can go first.
What our favorite one shot? Should we say of our own creation?
No, our favorite one shot that I would say that we've played in or that we've DM'd, doesn't matter. What's your favorite one shot ever?
I think my favorite one shot that I've ever ran is in between the one that I ran for him the very first time, which was at Gen Con.
Gen Con 2019.
And I got to run it for him, for Lily, for Cameron of the D&D Coalition, for Jorfton. And
great YouTube channel, by the way. He does great informational videos. They're awesome. It's Jordan. You don't pronounce the PH, right? Or something. But we always joke about Jorfton. He's not going to watch this, but Jorfton
probably won't.
Anyways, continue.
But yeah, that one that I got to run, it just went perfectly. Yeah. The group had an amazing time. They just worked well together. It was, the final boss was like a Hydra, but 3 of the heads could do petrification, poison, and something else.
I don't remember.
Hypnosis. And it was such a great one shot. And I've run it twice more. Mm-hmm. And I've thought of better ways to improve it, but it's just so good. What about you?
So mine would come down to 2, and I can go over them real quick. The first one is the same one he's talking about, because it's so funny, because that one at Gen Con, it was the first time I ever got him to got to play in a game he DM'd. I also met Lily for the first time when we played in that, and we're now engaged. And then, of course, I got to play with Cam from D&D Coalition, who I had known him for probably, I guess, close to a year by the time that came around, from before he even had his D&D Coalition account, and he just had his regular account, was following mine. So it was finally great to meet him in person and get to play with him. So we got to play with all those people. Great time. And it was at Gen Con. It was awesome. And then the other one, a tie, would be I created this own one shot that actually turned into my campaign that has gone on for 2 plus years now. But the very first one shot, it was my brother who taught me D&D and introduced me to D&D. My oldest son and my second son, all at the same table. So it was just that whole feeling right there, coming full circle. The one who taught me, and now I'm teaching my sons, and all 3 of them playing there. And then I had my friends at the table too, a couple of friends, and David, and and some other people. So it was really great moment. Just sitting at that table, I got a little a little choked up and misty-eyed when I sat there for the first time. I got ready to start that session. I was like, this is just an incredible moment.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's cool.
It was in March of 2017. Yeah, it was awesome. And then that spawned the whole campaign,
whole campaign.
Hopefully we eventually get to finish that.
Someday.
And speaking of finishing, we are finished. We have one question left.
Oh no.
The last question comes in from Arcane Anthems. And if you haven't seen their page, check them out. Their name's going to be somewhere right around in here. Great music for D&D. Right?
Incredible.
Or really not even just D&D. You can use it for a lot of role-playing games if you run other things. But great music for D&D. And they wanted to know, and this is funny that we end with this question. This was the last question that came up. And it's, what is something that we admire about the other one? Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
It's something I've already mentioned in this video. If I have to pick one thing that I admire about you, it is your passion for the game. You bring such an incredible passion, whether you're a player or a DM. You put your heart and soul into it, especially DMing. You put your heart and soul into writing it, into making sure people have fun, and into just running the game and performing as a DM. You just put your heart and soul in it. And you do pretty much the same thing as a player. He always comes with a great voice as a player. He always comes with a backstory. He always engages other players and tries to get them to role play as well. And it has helped with some of the players at our table. It makes them feel more comfortable. His passion for the game is just unmatched from anyone else that I've played with. Now your turn.
Keith is really cool.
All right, we'll just go ahead and end the video there.
Keith is the most dedicated guy I've ever met. He will literally push through and persevere over whatever's in front of him. If it's a problematic player, he talks with them head on. He doesn't let, like me as a DM, I might let that go for a while and then sit on it. He would literally call out the player and be like, hey, you're doing this thing. It's not making it fun for everyone else at the table. And he's dedicated to the game. Like,
are you talking about my own brother?
yes, I am. and other players.
Awkward.
And other players.
Yeah.
But even if I was causing a problem, he would first take me aside, or he would say in the game, be like, hey, whoa, it's not your turn. Let's let the other person go. He knows how to run a game. He knows how to keep it concise and structured. Structured is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
His notes are so thorough. His maps that I've seen him draw, he doesn't like them as much, I don't think. But his maps are beautiful looking. When he actually sits down and makes them, he's an incredible painter. Almost all of his miniatures that I've seen, 1,000 times better than I could ever do. I always critique him and make fun of them, but they're just amazing. His voices are just the best I've ever heard.
He jokes because he says I have this one voice that I always do all the time, and I don't. I have more than one voice. It's just, you know, I do use that one a lot, but it's so English.
What's the voice?
I don't really know what it is. I mean, it's just kind of like that weird kind of voice. Yeah, you hate that. I love it. And I'll use it every time, every session with you for some stupid random person just to do it.
And above all else, the thing I admire about him is he's my best friend. And I could never imagine my life at this point right now without him.
That's sweet. Josh is definitely in my top 5. Yeah, you're my best friend.
No,
I'm gonna start singing Queen, Freddie Mercury. Okay, so that's basically it for the video. We're gonna go ahead and stop being stupid for now. So I will be posting another story looking for more questions to do this again. I don't know if it'll be every week or every 2 weeks, but I'd like to get in at least a couple times a month.
Yeah.
At least 2 to 4 times a month. So thanks for watching if you got to this point. If you didn't, you have no clue what I'm saying. But anyways, do you have anything else to say?
Not really.
So we hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for the next one, where I'm not even going to edit this stuff very much.
Screw it.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video, people.
See you guys.
All right, thanks.